They're gorgeous. They look amazing in dresses. They pluck and laser their facial hair. Millions of swooning teen girls and boys fell for Robert Pattinson during his stretch on the Twilight movies, even though his penis never once made an appearance. And God's willing, I will spend the rest of my life with a face full of their flaccid, estrogen-soaked, perfectly chubby little thighs.
Why am I dancing with that trans person?
But yeah, we got Zinnia Jones. I got a couple of her videos as well. Again, this is even older actually. So the Riley J. Dennis stuff was from a long time ago. Ramming stuff up her balls, of course. Jesus. Are you even trans if you're not doing that, unless you're me? But yeah, this is from 2015. This was around the time I hadn't even started like transitioning and stuff then. Like, this goes back a long way. We've got a couple of videos. She did these gender analysis videos. The first one is called Stop Calling Trans Women Male. So this really caught my eye because I'm very much of the opposite opinion. Like, I am a male. Call me a male, I don't give a fuck, you know? But yeah, let's see why Zinnia Jones is correct on this and I'm wrong.
Welcome to Gender Analysis. Calling trans women...
First off, you know she's a radical because we've got a trans woman with short hair. Amazing. We've got the hideous tattoo as well. What does that say? I can't really read that, unfortunately. Riley was the worst with the lesbians with penis garbage. Oh yeah, I'll need to get onto more stuff. I'm sure I'll find it. Make sure you like the stream, by the way. But yeah, definite radical. We're in the presence of a real wise elder of the trans community, I guess.
Male is like the background noise of transphobia. It comes from many... Hi, welcome to Gender Analysis. Calling trans women male is like the background noise of transphobia.
Calling trans women male is like the background noise of transphobia. Okay. I think as a trans woman, you know, I don't know anymore. All of these things just blur into one. We've successfully made it where trans basically has no definition whatsoever, which means, again, I question why we need rights then if there's no definition to our thing and anyone can just call themselves a thing. But hey.
It comes from many directions, and it's pretty much constant. On one level, it's a lazy invalidation of who and what we are.
How is calling someone a male an invalidation of who someone is? Yeah, I mean, this person is a male. I know that for sure. I just don't, I mean, if there's weird identity going on, then I don't know. Well, you can't think it's about dictating someone who's in fact, the fact she is still a male, and it's important to me because men who try to act like women deceive men that they are women. Still a psychological issue. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, like, am I going to have to keep skipping backwards? Like, she says, she's already saying so many things that I'm just like, wait, what? You know?
Much constant. On one level, it's a lazy invalidation of who and what we are.
That doesn't make any sense.
Offered up by armchair biology fans who insist that trans women are always and forever male.
But you are male. I'm male.
On another, it's unwittingly perpetuated rhetoric by those trying to provide 101 level explanations of what it means to be transgender.
What? Okay, so it used to be physical sex is male, gender identity is female. Also, even this is transphobic, I guess. You can't even say someone's physical sex is male. I guess that's the problem. I can sum up this video without watching it. Transphobia, transphobia, transphobia. Yes. I have a feeling that's what we're in for, unfortunately.
While unaware that they may be causing even more confusion. And of course...
Causing confusion how? You're a male. That is what it is. Like, demonstrate how you can change your sex. Fucking Jessie Gender tried and she fucked it up, so I don't know.
It's overtly weaponized as a rallying cry of those looking to keep our genders from being recognized and protected under the
genders from being recognized. If all it takes to have this kind of gender is to call yourself that, then why would it be recognized and in need of protecting? You're just calling yourself a thing.
Law. But this concept of physical sex as permanent and inescapable is actually incomplete, inaccurate, and irrelevant.
Ooh, here we go. Here we go. We're gonna prove biology wrong.
Trans women really male in any way that matters?
Oh, in any way that matters. Oh, okay. Okay. You tried to get one past me there. Well done. Amazing. Like an uglier version of Abigail Thorne. Yeah, pretty much.
As permanent and inescapable.
It's incomplete, inaccurate, something else. And then she says, in any way that matters. In any way that matters. Yeah, okay, great. I don't even know why I'm watching a second more after that, because I already know what's coming. This is already, like, incredibly dishonest.
Is actually incomplete, inaccurate, and irrelevant. Are trans women really male in any way that matters? I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not to you. What matters is subjective to every single person that has a brain. I'm sorry. You can say that it doesn't matter to you. Obviously it doesn't matter to you because you're a trans woman. Like, no shit. Wow.
In recent years, a diagram called the genderbread person has become especially popular as a visual explanation of how gender, physical sex, gender expression, and sexual orientation are all separate axes that can operate independently. The diagram uses the genital area to represent physical sex, and the brain to represent gender identity. This representation is incredibly misleading. Treating genitals as synonymous with physical sex does a disservice to both biology and terminology. Physical sex is a broad concept that encompasses many sex-differentiated features of the body.
Is this true? I mean, it can incorporate lots of things, but ultimately the main thing that delineates sex is what's between your legs. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Body. It's not as if we have no evidently sexed features until we take our pants off, and this also doesn't reflect.
Yeah, but there's an order of preference, right? Like, you know, the main thing, like, sex is about reproduction, so the main thing that matters is what gamete you produce.
The common understanding of what it means to be trans. If physical sex were defined by the genitals, a trans woman who has genital reconstruction would then have a gender and a physical sex that are both considered female.
No. Oh my god. We always get these, like, crazy arguments, this whole, like, I hate having to do this every time, man. I hate this.
Were defined by the genitals.
So they're saying, if it's defined by the genitals, then if someone has their genitals taken off, first off, you're not female now in terms of your genitals if you have a vaginoplasty, because there's no ovaries in there, there's no uterus in there, there's nothing of that sort. So you're not female because of that. You could say that you've, you know, removed your sex. But, like, it matters what you were born as. Like, a man who has to have his penis amputated for one reason or another doesn't become a woman. Like, that's ridiculous. Oh, hi, Jan. I hope you're good.
A trans woman who has genital reconstruction would then have a gender and a physical sex that are both considered female.
Yeah, that's wrong. That's just dumb. No. You could maybe argue that they're not male or female and they're now, gender null or whatever, fucking whatever you want. But it doesn't make them female. Like, it looks like you have a vagina when you don't. No. There's a bit more to it than that.
Would that mean she's not trans anymore? This sharp separation of physical sex and gender reflects a flawed belief that our physical sex is constant regardless of our gender.
No, that's ridiculous too. But to be honest, I don't even agree with the diagram. I don't think gender is just what's in your head. I think gender is influenced by sex.
It serves as an excuse to see us as still being male.
An excuse? Why would people care to have to excuse why they want to still call you a male? They just see you as one. And your biological sex doesn't change. You have genetic sex. You know what I mean? Like, how did people fall for this? How did people, like... I'm blown away, honestly. I knew this would be insane, but like, Jesus.
We often hear well-meaning people describe trans women with phrases such as, their physical sex is male, but their gender is female.
Yeah, because they're trying to like incorporate you. They're trying to accommodate you. When actually you're just still a male. And this gender shit really has nothing to do with it. Gender is just how you're perceived and how you put yourself out there.
Unfortunately, not so well-meaning people tend to hear this as man who thinks he's a woman. Illustrating our gender as being limited to the mind suggests that it's all in our heads, as if it's a mere whim that can't be seen or felt.
It is. Oh my god, it is all in your head. That's the problem, it is. It is, and I know that because I've been through the whole thing. I know that. It's in your head. That's what it is. Where else is it coming from? Especially gender identity. Where the fuck else is that coming from but your brain? Because you make it up.
Probably isn't that important anyway.
What I'm just committing here is a definist fallacy. Okay, defining a concept in terms of another concept. To make an analogy, a chair isn't a horse that can no longer walk because you can still sit on it. Yeah, of course, yeah.
The isolation of our gender from our physical sex gives the impression that the physical changes of transitioning are irrelevant, and that we're just forever male, regardless of whether our bodies reflect that.
Yep, that's exactly my position, and I stand by it. She hasn't disproven it yet, so let's see.
When we question the labeling of trans women as male,
was under threat of doxing, cancelling, losing our jobs, etc. Only reason for accepting this crap? Yeah, for some people, yeah. Like, it doesn't take that much for a lot of other people because we've convinced people that affirming these kinds of people makes you a good person. And a lot of people, I think, I could be wrong here, but I would suspect more women than men sort of feel that drive to be a good person, so they will go along with this kind of thing. I think that's probably more powerful than kind of the threat of like cancelling, but for some people that's probably what it takes, I guess. How reality works now. If you look like a duck, you're a duck. Yeah, exactly. And I'd go a step further. So let's say that every day I cover myself head to toe in like bronzer, like to make my skin brown. And then I go out everywhere insisting that I'm Indian and that everyone refers to me as Indian and perceives me as Indian. Am I Indian now?
We're often told that this is simply a scientific fact, and disputing this would mean engaging in a delusion or denying reality. But none of these things are actually the case. It's not a scientific fact that our bodies are male. It's a fact that a penis is a penis.
Well, what are you if not male? Because you're not female. If you were female, you wouldn't be a trans woman. You can't have a female trans woman. That's preposterous.
But none of these things are actually the case. It's not a scientific fact that our bodies are male. It's a
I mean, they're saying genetically male, but sure.
Fact that a penis is a penis and XY chromosomes are XY chromosomes, but calling these things male is a choice of terminology.
Oh, so it's just well, those are just words people use, so you're just using those words to mean that, but I don't have to use the same words to mean the same thing. Well, no, you don't. You can call anything anything. Not really. Most people don't misgender before people started being aggressive. Oh, people still did. I've been trans a decently long time. We just need to continue to convince it go along with this is more harmful than not. Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one because it's quite difficult to demonstrate harm. And like, you end up getting all these people that are just kind of pushing all this, well, why do you care? Who cares? Like, why does it bother you if someone exists? And it's like, well, I don't. That's not the problem, you know? I don't care that trans people exist. I am trans.
The label isn't even in the same ballpark as an empirical finding. There are no scientific papers with...
Okay, so well, that's just a label. I don't run Twitch. Hi, I'm watching Zinnia Jones. We're watching some old school TRA stuff. This is about 9.5 years ago.
Conclusions along the lines of, therefore, we have found strong evidence that people with penises are male.
This is completely retarded. Like, the delineation is what gametes you produce. So a male produces the small gametes, and that's the same with any other species. Like, you know, any female of any species you know about, of mammals, they're the ones carrying the child. They're the ones that produce the egg that gets, like, fertilized and grown inside of them. The male is the one with the small gamete. So it's the same with people. And these are just our terms for them. But the concept of male and female has existed a long time before science has. It's existed before humans have, because it's how we evolved. And it's a very necessary feature, because if we didn't reproduce, we wouldn't still be here. And God knows what the world would look like. So this is just really silly. I mean, she lives on Tumblr at that time. She lived on Tumblr. I'm sure she did. Like, yeah, I don't know. This was H Bomber guy seemed to like this person. I don't know how anyone could watch this, and well, I do, because people are in a cult, because people hear what they want to hear, and if they're so desperate to prove that they're not male, even though they're literally male, I mean, where is this person's tits? What's with this tattoo? Very big symbols of that, you know what I mean? But yeah, you're pretending that a scientific fact isn't, when the concepts of male and female are, like, extremely grounded in science. That's shit that has just existed for as long as, you know, as long as time itself, almost.
And there are no aspects of biology that depend on labeling these features as male.
That doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that a penis haver overwhelmingly will not develop breasts unless they get overweight, will have XY chromosomes throughout their whole body, in every cell, will have a penis and produce spermatozoa. Maybe they don't, maybe there's a problem with their penis. That doesn't mean they're not male suddenly. Like, this is really, really dumb.
Aspects of biology that depend on labeling these features as male. If we referred to penises and XY chromosomes as female, would that actually require revising or overturning any physical facts or scientific findings?
Well, yeah, because you'd have to change around the whole concept, but there'd be no point. What is this question? Like, that just fried my brain a bit.
Require revising or Y chromosomes as features as male.
This feels just like a labels are arbitrary argument, which I get once in a while in my comments. There was someone on my last ContraPoints video that left a good 20 odd comments, mostly making these kind of arguments. It's just bunk. This whole thing has just existed since before we were able to understand it, because it's an evolved mechanism that tracks all the way up to us as beings that evolved from other beings, you know?
If we referred to penises and XY chromosomes as female, would that actually require revising or overturning any physical facts or scientific findings? No. Would it mean...
What does that even mean? I can't be asked to fucking even try and understand or answer that. That's just stupid. Like, you're claiming that the concepts are arbitrary. The things themselves are not. They exist for good reason, male and female. Like, you know how babies are made, I presume. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe that's part of the problem. I don't know.
Mean denying that a trans woman's penis is a penis and a trans woman's vagina is a vagina?
But trans women can't have vaginas. You can have your penis inverted or have it made from something else. That isn't really a vagina.
Penis is a penis and a trans woman's vagina is a vagina? No. We're only delusional to those who fail to differentiate between a state of reality and the categories we use to describe this.
What? What are you fucking talking about?
Differentiate between a state of reality and the categories we use to describe this.
Yeah, but just changing the category to suit you better and to cater to your feelings doesn't change anything. The concepts of male and female still exist. A car is only a car because we don't call it a bicycle. Would it be really such a bother to simply name cars bicycles? Yeah, exactly.
Revising a map does nothing to change the underlying territory.
What's the point then? So just accept that it is what it is and be okay with it.
Trans people know this, but transphobes seem to
Do they? Do they though? Do they though? You don't seem to. You seem very cope-brained, frankly.
struggle with it. Really, who's deluding themselves here?
Still you.
The broad description of trans women's bodies as male ignores many facts about physical sexual characteristics. The presence of XY chromosomes is often cited as a justification to mark our bodies as irrevocably male,
Oh, I can't wait for the DSD bit. Fuck me.
but features of physical sex are hardly limited to XX or XY. Some of this may simply be due to a lack of understanding of how the expression of sex characteristics actually works. The reality is that almost everyone has both testosterone and estrogen in their bodies, and almost everyone's cells are capable of responding to a deficit or surplus of these hormones. Estrogen activates estrogen receptors, and this leads to the expression of certain genes that ultimately produce secondary sex characteristics, such as breast growth, softer skin, reduced body hair, greater fat storage, and less muscle than that produced by testosterone. Again, almost everyone has
Don't these like hormones also have like vital functions? Like, I'm sure it's something like you need estrogen to tell your body when to stop growing or something, and that if you lack it or your receptors aren't working properly, you can end up growing a lot taller than you're meant to, and like you're having issues with your bones because of it. I can't remember. I read something about it.
these genes, regardless of gender and regardless of sex chromosomes. This is why hormone therapy works for trans people. Changing the balance of sex hormones produces the desired physical changes.
Yeah, you can change your hormones, but that doesn't change your overall sex.
When these concepts are misunderstood, it can lead to some pretty ridiculous arguments. Transphobes often claim that we'll never have XX
Here we go. What's the word? Nebulous appeal to transphobes, vague transphobes. Who's the transphobes they're talking about? Who's making this actual argument? No one will ever know.
chromosomes, not realizing that their presence or absence makes no practical difference when it comes to transitioning. We're described as having hormonally grown breasts by those who don't understand that all breast development is due to hormones in trans women and cis women alike.
Well, yes, but if you're a woman, that's all like genetically like baked in. That's going to start happening at a certain time. Like, with a trans woman, that's not the case. That's why you have to do it artificially. Almost as if you're not a woman, so you have to do it artificially. Almost as if, because you're a male, if you want a vagina, you're going to have to get it done artificially, whereas other people are just born with it. Why are we pretending that there's no difference between getting something done artificially and just having something because of our sex? Like, it makes total sense in the lens that this person desperately wants to pretend that they're not a male, despite the fact that, like, you really shouldn't have worn this top. Like, you wanted to grow a lot more in this area before wearing something like this. You just look like a young boy, but sure.
This is like calling a grown man really a child who's only cosmetically adult because of hormonally induced puberty. The changes in our bodies are called superficial, cosmetic, and artificial by those who don't realize that we're making use of the same biological pathways of development as cis people.
I think they probably are aware that you use similar processes to mimic the other sex. Like, this is why these stupid arguments that people use where it's like, transphobes think this, like, I just switch off when I hear that shit now. It's like, I'm going to hear something that is absolutely not what anyone's saying, or the very first basic argument that someone makes, because to you, everything is just, they think this, but actually I've got this. So like, you're done, I win, you know. Yeah. Choosing to serve transphobic, like, this is already stupid.
Picking one feature that lends itself to labeling our bodies as male becomes a rather suspect choice when the rest of our bodies indicates otherwise. And if you're
Doesn't make any sense, but sure. The rest of your body indicating you're female. But it doesn't, though. It doesn't. I mean... I'm not even seeing these breasts that you said that you had, so I don't know.
You're only calling trans women male because you've chosen only to look at the parts that allow you to call trans women male? That's circular. It isn't a firmly established scientific argument.
How is that circular? Like, there's an order of preference. If you've got a penis and breasts, you're male because of your penis. There's an order of preference. Surely there has to be. And it's like, well, you can tell immediately what most people's sex is because they clearly are producing one gamete or the other based on what you see between their legs. But it's more complicated in certain people. So there's other features you might have to look to in some cases. But if they've just got a fully working penis on them, you don't need to care about any of their other attributes, you know?
Argument. It's a last resort. Calling trans women male is often an intentional choice, meant to promote public fear and advance discriminatory laws.
That has absolutely nothing to do with whether you're a male or not. And who cares? Who cares?
Claims that males will be able to use women's restrooms serve to associate us with crimes committed by cis men.
Because you're males. Cis men are also males. It's not difficult. It's really not difficult.
Treating us as if we're a threat because of what cis men have done. The term male is used here because
The problem is, trans women, if that's what we're calling them, offend at the same rates as cis men, you know? I mean, trans women, from what I know, are like overrepresented in terms of like sex crimes. I mean, even that fucking what's that dipshit's name? Ethan is online. He put up some like study claiming that it showed that cis people are the ones doing all the crime, and then it actually made it look like LGBT people do more crime than what they're than for their proportion, you know. But yeah, like the amount of like trans women that are in jail for sex offenses, the proportion is much higher than in males or females.
transphobes know that if they said trans women, their argument wouldn't have a leg to stand on. They've grouped us under
What?
with crimes committed by cis men, treating us as if we're a threat because of what cis men have done. The term male is
And trans women. You think no trans women have done anything that make people concerned about like single sex spaces and stuff like that, like safety and stuff?
used here because transphobes know that if they said trans women, their argument wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
Well, no, it still would, because necessarily a trans woman is a male.
They've grouped us under the same umbrella based on a shared feature that trans women explicitly disavow.
Umbrella. So what, we're just projecting now, I guess. Nice.
And actively work to move away from. But transphobes don't care about that, because allowing males in women's restrooms evokes suspicion and discomfort in every way that allowing women in women's restrooms doesn't.
Trans women are female, Jesus Christ. Oh, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. I don't know.
Many people don't like it when trans women call ourselves female, because it undermines the forms of transphobia that rely on thinking of us as
No, they don't like it because it's not true. I'm not female. If I was female, why the fuck would I have transitioned anything? And if I was female, why was I born with a penis?
men. It takes away that asterisk, and removes one of the ways of marking us as less legitimate in our womanhood. It dissolves.
Well, you haven't shown legitimacy in your womanhood. What is womanhood to you? What is womanhood such that a male person can take it on? No one's ever shown this.
The arguments that link us to cis men based on this one tenuous, dishonest connection. For some, calling us male is just an innocent mistake, and it doesn't
Innocent mistake? No, it's the truth. They're using a sexed term.
come from a bad place. For others, it's not so innocent. But no matter the reason, stop and think about what you're doing. Trans women being male is not a fact.
Yeah, just revise history, revise science, revise everything to care about this person's feelings. You've seen the recent court case in California. Rapists change their pronouns and victims need to... Yeah, I saw something about that. It's really gross. I don't understand that at all. Yeah, it's ridiculous, in my opinion. arguing against guilt by association while saying, nah, still judge dudes by association. I think so. Because this person desperately just wants to pretend that they're not a male, I guess. Can females be trans women? This person would say no, I presume. Actually, no, I don't know. They probably would say yes, because trans women are female, so I don't know.
It's just a really thoughtless thing to say. I'm Zinnia Jones. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time for more gender.
Yeah, the whole argument with trans women and female, it's, well, lie, because it's mean not to. Okay, that was very stupid. What's next? Got another one. Excuse me, I do apologize. Gender analysis 12. Why do you call yourself a lesbian if your girlfriend has a dick? Nice, nice. Anyway.
Hi, welcome to Gender Analysis.
Oh, his hair grew.
The sexuality of trans people and our partners is something that many cis people struggle to understand. Misconceptions about who we are lead to
I would imagine Zinnia Jones has been on Twitter. Maybe they're not anymore. Might even be the same one. I don't know. Yeah. There we go. I'm blocked. This is what they look like now. I mean, they look a bit more like a woman. This hideous fucking tattoo is still on show, I see.
oversimplified folk theories of what it means to be attracted to us, and how best to describe this in terms of sexual orientation. Curiosity about sex tends to bring our anatomy into the conversation, causing further confusion even when this isn't relevant at all. Today, my partner Heather will be exploring the most common and frustrating question she's been asked as a partner of trans women. Why does she call herself a lesbian if her girlfriends have penises?
Her girlfriends? Like plural? Oh. The partner of two trans women. Even back then, it was all this, like, polyamory shit, which has got nothing to do with being trans. Must have watched Cats and took it too far. I'm not familiar with that.
The generally accepted meaning of the
Oh wow, very surprising that this person looks like this.
word lesbian is a woman who is attracted exclusively to other women for romantic and sexual purposes. But if that were all
By the way, judging from what we've been seeing so far, and people don't really give me shit for this, but we need to stop all this fucking anti-British racism when it comes to what our teeth look like. I'm sorry. I'm not saying any of these people are racist against British people for our teeth. I'm just saying they've got no place to, and nor do most Americans, quite frankly. Thank you, anyway.
all anyone ever actually meant when they said lesbian, nobody would be confused when I called myself one. As far as they know, I'm a woman. My girlfriends are women. There's no inconsistency there. Still, this answer satisfies very few cis people.
Okay, so it's just trans women are women. Okay, amazing. I wonder why this argument didn't work. The last person I have a feeling would argue for trans animals existing. Yeah, there are no trans animals, especially because we've decided it's all about identity. Like, how can a dog or something else have a fucking gender identity, you know?
I haven't tried it yet, but I think if I walked Zinnia and Penny around and tried to call them my boyfriends to pass myself off as straight, more than a few people would have some questions. Why do all of your boyfriends look just like girls, for example?
Just like girls? Does this person look like a girl? I was hoping you'd say women also, but hey. I must say her father definitely looks up to the stigma. Listen, I have awful teeth. I'm not saying I don't have the same shit going on. It's just that, like, Yankoids tend to love shitting on British people for having bad teeth when so many of them have, like, terrible teeth.
Maybe I'd even get accused of being a closeted lesbian. Who knows? In any case, the answer cis people want to hear when they learn my partners are trans is that I'm bi or pansexual.
Well, I mean, it's just not a usual thing for lesbians to want to get fucked with a penis. You know what I mean? It's just not normal. So you can understand why people would find that confusing, surely. Unless you were fucking alphabet cult brained. I have no idea if any of these people are, like, together still, by the way. Probably not. These polycules don't tend to work very well. Ooh, Wow, this Twitter actually exists. What the fuck? Weird. Why is this person? Have they got me blocked? No, fair enough. I don't even know who this person is. She, they. Yikes. Oh, they're still, maybe they are still together. Who knows?
The purpose of identifying as a lesbian.
So, like, I actually have complicated feelings on this because my partner is a lesbian, but I'm a male. But, like, I don't know, when someone's dating history is a certain thing, when certain things are kind of part of the culture, and when sex works in a way that's pretty inseparable for how, like, lesbian sex works, I think it is a little more complicated than, well, your sex is whatever, your sexuality is your sum total, like, sex partner history or something, you know? I think it's a bit more important. It's a bit more complicated than that. But when we're talking about penises, that makes it much less complicated because that's usually the very part that lesbians don't want, you know?
And is to give the people around me a shorthand introduction to the social aspects of my sexual orientation. When I say I'm a lesbian, then my friends won't try to set me up with guys. Men, hopefully, will know that I don't intend to date them, and people will generally understand that I fit.
Listen, I'd tell people I was straight when I was, you know, living as male or whatever. Just no one would believe me, and that's fair enough because, I don't know, I didn't look like I do now, but I don't know, I did kind of the dyed hair and the eyeliner and stuff, so, yeah.
Into a demographic of people who are financially and socially marginalized, and only recently will know that I don't intend to date them, and people will generally understand that I fit into a demographic of people who are financially and socially.
No one thinks this. Like, are lesbians financially and socially
marginalized?
Marginalized? I don't know. I've been to a fair amount of gay clubs. And, like, I don't remember all the lesbians beaten down, walking around, like, with their hands in their pockets about how beaten down they are, you know? Gynophile. Yeah, maybe. Notice how the males always try to look like female partners or ex-partners when they crush on. Hey, maybe.
And only recently gained equal marriage rights. These are useful tidbits of information that differentiate me from my heterosexual.
Yeah, you want people to know how oppressed you supposedly are whilst you're white and cis-passing, potentially straight-passing. Is this a PTK character? Sadly not. Yeah, I don't know. This is so stupid. Like, why do you think this way? What happened in your brain?
Peers in ways that let them know what to expect and when it might be a good idea to exercise sensitivity. It's even more useful when I'm looking for romantic and sexual partners. Calling myself bi or pansexual, as I am often expected to do, would complicate this.
Expected by who?
Shorthand. I am interested in.
We are marginalized now. No bars, no apps, no meetups. Colonized by males and pushed out. Yeah, there's definitely problems. The way that marginalized gets used in the way it is doesn't help, in my opinion. Like, can't we just talk about the problems instead of arguing over who gets to call themselves marginalized? Like, I don't know. Everyone wants to, like, center their oppression when they're white women living in a house obviously had enough money to afford food. Like, I'm sorry, you're oppressed? I don't know about that, Chief. That's the kind of thing I mean.
In women and only women, an omnisexual identity does not describe me. When discussing sexual orientation, people also like to infer sexual acts. I say I'm a lesbian, and people assume that I spend my evening.
I like how orientation and identity is, like, interchangeable as well. Nothing gross about that whatsoever.
Performing cunnilingus. I never describe my sexual orientation as performer of cunnilingus, nor have I ever even said that I do. Most do not ask whether I perform cunnilingus because they want to be polite company, but queer people are hypersexualized, and therefore most people.
Because you hypersexualize yourselves, by the way. Who was saying about Zinnia Jones stuffing things up their ass? I can't remember. Listen, I don't know. I don't know whether it's true. I don't know whether Zinnia Jones is one of those people that constantly sexualizes themselves, but like, why are you even complaining about this? This is a you made this bed fucking thing. Fair enough.
I ever even said that I do. Most do not ask whether I perform cunnilingus because they want to be polite company, but queer people are hypersexualized, and therefore most people assume and imagine lesbians perform cunnilingus. When they
Do they? I mean, I guess you get some guys that do because it's hot to imagine that kind of thing happening. Like, I don't know. Keep telling me how society works, I guess.
learn that my girlfriends are trans and have not had bottom surgery, they then assume that we engage in.
Why do they even have to know that, first of all? Oh, it's so sexualized. By the way, let me tell you about the genitalia my partners, plural, have. Why do they need to know any of that? Cunnilingus, yeah.
Vaginally penetrative intercourse and fellatio. I have not said that I engage in either of those things, but again, they assume. These acts are inappropriately equated to heterosexuality, and
Why is that inappropriate when heterosexuality is a male and a female? You're going against the grain. I saying kind of like, yeah, it only works coming out of people that you find attractive, I would say. It's definitely the case for me.
this is usually the point where I'm asked why I identify as a lesbian. Cisgender people are typically given a bit more leeway than this. When two cisgender
Are they?
women form a couple, people generally don't request the details of their sexual congress
You need to find new people to be around. Like, fucking hell, who's constantly asking you about your... oh man, I don't know. I don't remember the last time I met someone with Charlie and they started going on about like, oh, well, how do you have sex and stuff? Like, I don't remember that ever happening. I feel like this person probably initiates at least some of that kind of conversation. Here's this motherfucker. This is Zinnia Jones's partner. And she's talking about how she's a lesbian despite having 2 trans boyfriends.
before they decide whether the two are lesbians. It is enough that they are 2 women. Likewise, when a man and a woman are straight, they are
Yeah, the problem is that you're not dating women, you're dating men. So that's kind of what it is. It's a bit confusing if you're dating men and calling yourself a lesbian. Wow, amazing. How crazy. What an insane thought. Looks like a 2016 style social justice warrior. Well, this is 2015, so she literally was. I actually find Big Red quite funny, to be honest. Like, cringe as fuck, obviously, but pretty funny in a way.
rarely quizzed on who puts what body parts in which orifices and stimulates the other exactly how before they are given license to proceed as their stated orientation. While I find it highly amusing,
I don't even know what she's referring to. It's like, you don't have to answer anyone's questions. If someone's being weird, then tell them they're being fucking weird. You've got your boyfriends with you. It's not like you've got no one to stick up for you. Oh, no. She has 2 trans girlfriends with penises, and that's... Oh, she hadn't had SRS by the time of this. This is 2015.
to hear what people come up with when they hypothesize about the sex that I have, the assumption that a person has disclosed their sexual proclivities once
What have they come up with? Let's hear.
they've disclosed their sexual orientation is an unrealistic one. While it is generally a good bet that when people are romantically engaged, they are also
It's like she eats KFC sexually. I'm sorry, I'm just extremely, extremely distracted by the fact that the very top part of her neck and her head is not the same shade as like the rest of her neck. This is so weird. No one's asking this. They probably get the odd like weird drunk guy out somewhere that will, but I don't know. I must have had a very different experience of like going out and drinking with like around other people. Because I don't know. And you'd think these kind of people would go to like gay bars and stuff. Why are people hypothesizing about the sex she's having? I don't know. I've only got her word to go on, and I don't trust any of these people. I don't trust almost anyone in general, but especially not these kinds of people. Telling yourself is just a big clit. Yeah. Well, if you're in the thought cult, you don't need to do any of that. You're just like, ooh, this is a girl dick. Yeah, sure it is.
also sexually engaged, there are a lot of different ways that that could be happening, and absolutely none of them will provide any insight into their real orientation. So do I. Sort of. It's purple, and it's made of body-safe silicone, but she can do all the same.
Oh, she has a dick too, because she has a strap on. People avoid people like this because of his name, yeah. I mean, this person looks like they'd fucking lecture me if I dared to talk about literally anything with them. What's your opinion on the biphobia discourse on Twitter? If you don't want to date a bi person, you're a bigot, apparently. People have preferences. If you don't fit someone's preference, then move the fuck on. That's what my take is. I used to use dating sites back before I met Charlie. If I was interested in someone and they weren't interested in me, do you know what I did? I moved on. I don't care if someone is not interested in me because I'm trans. They're not interested in me. So trying to continue anything on is wasting both of our time. And it's the same thing. If someone doesn't want to date bi people, that's up to them. Who gives a fuck? Oh, hi, Rob Slide. Yeah, I'm good. Watching some old school SJW stuff, 2015.
Same things with it that I can do with hers. And does it matter? Most people know whether they're attracted to somebody well before they ever see that person's genitals.
Yeah, but most people also assume what genitals they have. And for some people, that's quite important, which is why you don't want to mislead anyone. So if you're trans, it's actually in your best interest to disclose what you have, especially if you're dating men, because what might happen is they might be surprised to find that you have a dick and not a vagina. They might panic because, oh shit, am I gay now or something? You probably know where I'm going with this.
Millions of swooning teen girls and boys fell for Robert Pattinson during his stretch on the Twilight movies, even though his penis never once made an appearance.
Do you think that nobody assumed that he has a penis? Yeah, his penis didn't appear. Like, what? What is this argument? I'm baffled. Like, Jesus Christ.
Trans men and women who cannot or will not get bottom surgery wander around outside without ever being spotted, and cis people develop attractions to them just as they would anyone else. Cis people fall for trans people of their preferred genders all of the time.
All the time. Yeah, it happens because she said so. She finds them attractive, therefore everyone finds them attractive. Oh yeah, that's what happens on this stream, Nick. That's why you gotta be on it. You can't miss anything. By the way, make sure you all like the stream. Have you liked the stream yet? You should like the stream.
Most of the time, we hope this is just a regular love story.
Yeah, I agree with you, Anna. The way I feel is, if someone doesn't want you, then move on. Very easy. If I chat someone up and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't date white people, should I go on a fucking massive spurg out about how racist this person is? Or just be like, I guess I'm not their type. Maybe I'll find someone else to date. Can't immediately see people's genitals that they don't exist. Yep.
And most people outside of the relationship never know. But sometimes it's not quite so idyllic. Violence against trans women and a ludicrous number of sexual offense cases.
Yeah, so literally what we're saying. Yeah. Literally what I said. Like the gay panic kind of stuff.
Against trans men have occurred, in fact, due to this very phenomenon.
So look after yourself. Make sure that when you're dating people, you tell them what you've got so that you're not surprising them. And so that if they decide they thought they liked you, but then found out about your genitals and now they're not interested anymore, that they've got an out, that they can explain that to you and you can not waste any more of each other's time. Like, I don't know. I was very upfront about being trans when I was dating. It was literally the first thing that was on my thing. Because the way I felt was, there's probably going to be some people here who are not going to be interested in me because I'm a trans woman and I have a dick. So therefore, I should just head that off. And then if they're not interested in me, that's fine. They already know. And they can just not talk to me or say, sorry, not interested. I don't like dick. And that'd be fine. I don't know. We don't have to take offense at something just because that's an option, you know?
Cis people found themselves attracted to trans people and, upon discovery, decided that they had been conned.
Well, yes. If you lead someone to think they've got one set of genitals and then they discover you've got the other, that's kind of conning someone. That's catfishing, in a way.
9 out of 50 states still allow trans panic to be used as a defense in cases of assault and murder against trans people. It's disturbingly common. And
Yep, it's kind of gross, I agree. But doesn't that mean people should be, like, open and honest? Doesn't that mean people should look after themselves? Because no one else is going to look after you for you?
is this ignorance attached to the expectation that sexual acts have been disclosed, along with sexual orientation, that leads these violent cisgender people to feel that their sexual orientations have been threatened. My girlfriends are not a threat to my sexual orientation.
Yeah, okay, you're woke, so you don't feel that way. Others do.
I am attracted exclusively.
I just watched a video of a trans woman telling her partner on a drinking show for the first time after they had fooled around once previously. Oof. Yeah, I used to get those, what was it, Jerry Springer segments, but I don't know. Always seemed very staged to me.
Exclusively to women.
Perception is kind of rapey. Yeah, I agree. If I showed up and someone thought I had a vagina and I still had my penis, I'm post-op, I don't. Well, I do, but it's not how it was. If they found out I had a penis and I was like, well, we're undressed now. Like, aren't we going to fuck? Aren't we going to fuck? Yeah, that's kind of pushy. It's a bit rapey. I agree. Lying about her orientation. Yeah, potentially. I mean, listen. It's not very lesbian to be with two guys with dicks. Like, I don't know. Or stop building polycules and build relationships where sex isn't the first thing you talk about and build an emotional bond so the subject comes in a natural conversation. Yeah, that's definitely an idea. 50k women are killed every single year. Haven't heard a single TW ever speaking about this. Any other issues about women? It's always this BS themselves. Yeah, true. I mean, hey, is there a Women's Day of Remembrance?
And they are women. Being with them has been nothing like my experiences of being with men, either socially or sexually.
Well, within the concept or the category of men, should I say, there's a lot of variation, you know what I mean? There's a lot of scope. And people's personalities can differ wildly, so, hey.
Stuffed shirt conservatives never check under their skirts for a set of balls before giving me a stink eye. They're amazing feminists, and they blend seamlessly into the sisterhood of women.
How can you be an amazing feminist and be trans? And say the kind of things that fucking Zinnia Jones does? In this series, we watched another gender analysis earlier. No, bro, it doesn't work that way.
Women-only spaces. They're amazing feminists, and they blend seamlessly into the sisterhood of women-only spaces.
There you go. They blend in seamlessly. There you go.
They're gorgeous. They look amazing in dresses. They pluck and laser their facial hair. And God's willing, I will spend the...
Please agree with me that my boyfriends are women.
They pluck and laser their faces. They're gorgeous. They look amazing in dresses. They pluck and laser their facial hair. And God's willing, I will spend the rest of my life with a face full of their flaccid, estrogen-soaked, testosterone
Why?
blocked penises, framed by perfectly chubby little thighs and round hips. And
This is why, oh my god, this is why I'm one of those anti-gooning types these days. That'll do. We had the video. We heard the video. I'm now deeply traumatized. Oh my god. Anyway, there we go, Zinnia Jones. How are we feeling right now? Have we put everyone off their breakfast yet? Like lesbians speak like this. Well, not many of them talk about wanting flaccid penises in their mates. Oh, what have I just watched? What the fuck has been happening in my life for the last hour or so? Jesus Christ. Grabbing some fried chicken there.